on the call, we talked about just your work, and I was like, man, what are some 5 right things? Because this podcast is all about helping people discover the right things for them to achieve the wins. And so maybe somebody wanting to do similar work as you, just thinking about what are some 5 right things to consider, we talked about on the call, or to do. And then you have these 5, and I'm just going to go through the list real quick, and then we're just going to walk through them real quick. The first one is thirst for knowledge. Second one is persistence, good communication skills, thick skin, and then understanding it's a collaborative process, which some of the stuff you've kind of already been touching on. But let's just walk through these real quick. What's the first one? Thirst for knowledge. What do you mean?
So I think, typically whenever somebody starts photography, it starts as a hobby. And it piques your interest. But I think that you have to have a desire to continually learn for it to become a profession. And just going down that rabbit hole, learning lighting, learning what lens is going to give you whatever your desired outcome is, learning things. If you're wanting to learn interior and architecture, possibly learning about interior and architecture would be very helpful. I love photography because it's one of those hobbies, professions that you are constantly learning. I've been doing this since I was 17 years old, and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I don't prefer hobbies where you kind of you try it out and you're like, okay, well, I guess I figured it out.
Yeah.
So I think that's why photography stuck with me, because I'm still learning new things all the time, and things are constantly changing and adapting, and there's new technology all the time. And yeah, I think you need to probably read up on the latest whatever's happening in your field. But I think, having a thirst for knowledge.
That's good. Number 2, you said persistence.
You will, if you pursue photography, you will get knocked down a little bit. But if you stay persistent in it and you keep honing your skill and take, certain criticisms or even criticisms that you might give yourself, I really wish I could learn. For some reason, I can't figure out how to light this space properly. If you're persistent, and it kind of, I guess, goes back to thirst for knowledge, you go back and learn what you need to do. I think, I don't know how to tie that together, but persistence is really important. You're going to get knocked down. You got to get back up.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly right. Just with anything in life, but I definitely can see that. I'm not a photographer, but I like dabbling with cameras and things like that. And I mean, if you don't just keep going, you're not going to learn and be as great as you are. If you know what I'm saying? It just ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Without.
It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think people think it happens overnight because they only get to see a small fraction of your life.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more that happens behind the scenes. So it doesn't happen overnight. Sticking with it, that's really the only way to learn.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of these five right things are not just photography specific. I feel like they would be for any passion or profession or thing that you want to pursue in your life.
No, thirst for knowledge. Yeah. Whatever you're doing is best. It's going to be a win for you if you can continue to have this hunger to want to learn how to do it better and better. Persistence, definitely a life thing. And then your number 3, good communication skills.
Absolutely. Like I was talking about earlier, I need to know what the client's desired outcome is. And I can create the roadmap how to get there, but without knowing what they want or need, what are these images going to be used for, It just makes the process so much easier, having good communication. Or if something doesn't go quite as planned, just coming right out and saying, hey, man, I'm sorry. this didn't work out for whatever
Yeah.
reason for ABC. And just like communicating with them about that rather than, like just
Not.
hiding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And letting it be that thing that nobody wants to talk about because it was
Exactly.
never brought up,
Yeah.
or asking the right questions, right? You doing
Yep.
that is really great. And so I think those are, yeah. And one of the things, talking about going back to, this isn't just for photography or your work, I think about marriage, like good communication. If I want to get
Yeah.
healthy marriage, I got to have good communication
Big time.
skills.
That's probably one of the most important skills for being married.
Yes,
I think. Yeah.
it is. It
Yeah.
is. That's the first thing that I think about. But yeah, so, and then whenever you're providing a service for somebody, communication is going to be key. Asking the right question, listening, and then paraphrasing back what they say, like, let me make sure I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
This is what I think you're saying. And then hopefully they have the will, the ability to say, nope, that's not it. Let me try to say it a different way.
And that's why I started creating schedules of our photo shoot day. It's not only communicating with my client, it's also communicating with the building owner or whoever the manager is going to be, that, like, for example, that restaurant. I need to let them know how long I'm going to need to be in that space. And it's so awkward whenever you show up to a photo shoot and that hasn't been communicated. And they're like, oh, okay, so this will probably take you, 20 minutes, right? And I'm like, actually, we probably need 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, if you haven't been on a photo shoot that has studio lighting and all these kinds of things, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So I can understand why somebody wouldn't know. That's why I try to prepare them.
Yeah.
I say, hey, we're going to be here at this time. We're going to need however many hours. We're going to need access to the lighting panels so that we can mess with the lights. We're going to need access to this, and this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's terrible to scramble on photo shoot day.
Yeah.
You just want to have everything planned out, and which is hard for me because I am not an organized person. I have systems in place because I know that about myself. So I have these things that I make sure every project has.
Yeah.
And it's helpful.
Yeah, no, and I'm trying to get better at that because here's the thing, Lady Joe, you can have a system, but if you're not following the system,
It's true.
I can have all the systems. I feel like I have so many systems. And even when I wake up in the morning, I got a system on the things but if I don't do it, if I don't follow through the system, it's worthless. So, yeah. Number 4, thick skin.
And this might also have to do with the last point, which you're going to get to in a minute, but you might not be for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Everyone probably isn't for you.
Yeah.
You're going to get critiques on your work. And that's not something you see from Instagram, but a lot of my clients are like, this is great, no edits, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes I get critiques that are they'll ruin my day.
Yeah. I know the feeling. Yes. Yeah. And it's kind of like, you're not even a photographer.
Yeah.
What do you know about editing?
Yeah.
And then, because what they want and see is is that real? Right? Is that realistic? Is that and yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. I cannot. That's the reason I don't like, let me not say I don't like, but it's hard to do a service for people because oftentimes people can have these thoughts and things that are not, it's like, no, that's not going to be, or you're going to pay me a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, we can do that, but it's going to
Yeah.
cost you something that you don't
Yeah.
want to pay for right now.
And sometimes that is the case. I've had, rather than just waiting until springtime to photograph something, they'll have me photograph it in winter. And they'll be like, oh, I don't like that the trees are dormant. I'm like, okay, well, if you want that fixed, I probably need to send that off to an editor. It's going to cost you X amount of money
Yeah.
because I just,
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
not my skill set. Yeah.
I take photos. I'm not a digital graphics tree replacer.
I can't place leads. I can get it done.
It's
It's going to cost you.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you
Yeah.
some money because they can do some incredible things right
Yeah.
now.
Seriously,
Yeah,
they absolutely
it is
can.
crazy to make it feel real good. But yeah, thick skin, definitely hearing people's feedback, but then also just some clients, like just their personalities, right? Different people have different personalities, and it's like,
Yep.
man, it's just something you just got to have some thick skin.
Even
to be able to deal with
within
it.
the same firm.
Yeah.
We were on a photo shoot not all too long ago, and the first day of the photo shoot, we were with one person, and the second day, we were with a different person, and it was just like night and day, and it was the same client. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So energy's
So
a big
when you
thing.
when you do that, do you have to be like, okay, wait, I need you and the other person
Yeah.
at the same time? Because really, y'all probably should talk this through. Is it that kind
I mean, it would be helpful. I do think that the schedule kind of mitigates a little bit of that because everybody from that firm has seen the schedule and has approved it. And if they haven't, by the time we're at the photo shoot, I feel like that might be more of a communication problem on their end.
Yeah.
They've had it for several weeks and everybody says it's good to go, then it's good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Number 5, understanding it's a collaborative process.
So, and this might not necessarily be the case for every genre of photography. Like landscape, I'm sure it's kind of up to like the one individual, the photographer, what this finished product is going to look like. But when you're dealing with architecture and interior design, you have to remember, yes, you're the photographer, but this is also their project and they've spent sometimes years working on this. This project is their baby. They know this project inside and out, and it's very, very, very important for them to get really good quality photos. And then on the same flip side, like you can't really get good quality photos without a photographer that has the right skill set and the right tools and knows what they're doing. So it's very collaborative. I need to be able to work with them. They need to be able to work with me. And there's feedback to be given, and feedback's not always easy to digest.
Yeah.
But I do think the longer you do it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the more you understand that it's a collaborative effort, does that take some stress off you too? Because you know, like, okay, there's somebody else that should be playing this part. I don't have to own that.
sometimes, yeah, where
Yeah.
it's like, we can't really do anything about, like there's one photo shoot comes to mind, and it was an active construction site. And we do the very best that we can, but there are some angles you're probably not going to get because there's a scissor lift in the middle of the room, or and most of the time people are pretty understanding.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, can you Photoshop out that scissor lift? And you're like, oh my gosh. I'm going to send that off to my editor, and that's going to cost you extra.
Oh, yeah.
But usually people are pretty understanding.
Yeah. But it takes somebody else to get that thing moved. It wasn't something on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or scheduling possibly at a different time. And then I think because I have the knowledge of working in-house, I also understand how limited the timelines are between when a project is complete and when move-in is. And finding the right time to photograph a project is like it's not an easy job for whoever's coordinating it. And I get that.
Yeah.
Because let's say you're photographing like an office space that has, 40 desks. It is so much easier to photograph that before people are moved in and they have photos of their families all over their desks.
Yeah.
Or like another project comes to mind. People like had like little toys up on their cubicle walls, we have to go in and take all of that down. And that's honestly where a lot of the preparation, like that's why we have to be there for hours, because we have to remove it all.
Yeah.
We take pictures with our phones and then we have to put it back.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of prep work.
That is.
And we usually, when we're communicating with that building owner, we ask them to tell their employees to do that. Sometimes we show up and it has not been done.
It ain't even nowhere near.
Yeah. So I don't even remember where I was going with that.
Were we talking about collaborative? And I guess you're saying like
yeah.
people will have to, that's somebody else's job sometimes to schedule and understand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Scheduling when a photo shoot's going to be. And then sometimes like we'll be photographing a restaurant. And yeah, ideally you would like to do it before the business opens. But sometimes they'll have tables, but they won't have chairs. Like the chairs haven't been delivered yet, or their plates haven't been delivered yet, or their bottles of wine are not in the wine cabinet. And it's like this delicate balance of, yeah, it would be great to get it before people kind of go in and muck up the space. But at the same time, we also need a little bit, we don't want it to be a totally empty room either. We want it to look.
Yeah, you want it to have
life.
Yes.
Like a human presence.
There's going to be chairs in here if people really want the right feel.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
To not have the chairs is not, yeah. So good.
Yeah. So I also, I think just having that in-house marketing experience, I understand where they're coming from sometimes when it comes to scheduling.
Yeah. You've been in our shoes.
I've been in their shoes.